If I were to die tomorrow, then the message that I want to leave behind to this world is all you need is love. Now, I know that sounds very cliche and corny, and when I say that most of you think of the Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. But that is the truest thing ever. The fact that all we need is love. Love is something that we all desire, so much so that there's millions of songs in this world regarding the topic of love. It is deeply programmed in all of us to want to give love and receive love in some way. So I think the action of giving love and even sometimes receiving love is something that we all need to try to master. At least try to master it. I haven't mastered it, but I'm making efforts every day. I believe love can solve any problem, even the problem of, social anxiety. For example, the next time that you go to a party or a social event, instead of making your goal trying to be cool or attractive or extremely charismatic or funny, make your goal to find some way to show love to the people at that party. Be more expressive, compliment somebody, listen to somebody's story about their trip to Hawaii, even if it's boring and you don't want to listen to it. In my opinion, it's really selfish sometimes to always want to listen to an extremely interesting story. You have to realize that that person is telling you about their trip to Hawaii because they want to tell you about that trip to Hawaii, and all they want is somebody to listen to them. And that can be a way that you express love. I believe that something as, I don't want to say simple because it's not that simple, but if everybody in the world was a master listener, then there would be no need for therapy sessions. The therapy sessions where you go to a therapist's office and you have them listen to stories of your life, because contrary to popular belief, therapists aren't miracle workers. They don't just give you the answers. Most good therapists are just there to listen to you and let you talk and let you figure out how to solve the problems in your own life. And if we were all good listeners, then there would be no need for such a thing as therapy. But I'm starting to trail off a little bit. This video is about love. Let me tell you guys a story of how love saved my life and my relationship with my wife. So back in 2017, when I was studying abroad here in Japan, my wife and I had just started dating. Of course, the beginning was the cupcake phase. Everything was all hunky-dory and fun. But as things started to settle down, our immaturities would start to collide. The reason why I say immaturities is because I was 19 going on 20, and she was 20 going on 21. We were 7 years younger, 7 years more immature than we are now. And that could lead to some petty arguments and sometimes even heated arguments, to the point where we even considered ending the relationship a few times. But one of the things that held us over until I had a certain revelation was the fact that we both knew that ending the relationship wouldn't solve all of our problems. Just the simple switch of partners, breaking up with this girl and now dating this girl, won't solve all of our problems if we are still the same people. We'll just have the same relationship, but with a different person with a different name, if we ourselves don't change. So we were both mature enough to realize that, and we both realized that neither of us were bad people. We just collided sometimes, and it would get in the way of a lot of good times that we could be having. And what really saved our relationship was when I came across something that gave me a revelation. Now, what was that thing? During that time, I was listening to a band called Mute Math, and they have a song called Monument. Basically, a song talking about making a monument dedicated to the love that you have towards somebody special in your life. And they centered that video around an old black man from Mississippi named Lala. Lala has a deceased wife named Lou, spelled Lou, and he just speaks so fondly of the relationship that they had. I think it was 58 years that they were together before Lou died. And you could just tell that he loved her so much. He loved her so much that he made his house into a literal museum dedicated to her after she died. And of course, seeing that music video, it was very touching. But what really pierced my heart was something that came up in a separate video that was basically a behind the scenes of the music video. Lala was in that video and he barely had any lines, but toward the end he said something so simple yet so powerful that it just pierced my heart and gave me a revelation, and it changed my life forever. Like, it almost brought me to tears. What he said was, love is the key. And me being in the situation where I thought about ending things with my girlfriend at the time, that line really pierced my heart. And I realized that the only thing that is going to get us through this relationship was love. So I started, loving Sayaka more. I started expressing love more. And things got so much better when I started loving her in the proper way. I'm glad that neither of us gave up, because now we're married and, she's my best friend. We barely argue. We spend a lot of time together, and in that time we talk to each other, we laugh, we go on a lot of dates. It's really fun being married to her, and now we're about to have a baby. But yeah, love saved us. It really did. And I believe that love can save any relationship. I believe it can save anybody. I believe it can solve all of our problems. I believe that when exposed to genuine love, even for the people who have hearts that are so tightly tangled in knots, I believe that when those knots are exposed to genuine love, then they have no choice but to loosen up. But I'm not really sure that many people, especially in my generation, know how to give genuine love. And this will lead me to my next point. One of the things that I learned growing up in church, shout out to Calvary Revival Church in Norfolk, shout out to the Macbeth family. But one of the things that I learned in church that really stuck with me was the fact that love and lust are two opposites. Love, if we're going to speak about it financially, love is a donation. Lust is robbing somebody. Love is something that you give sacrificially to the benefit of the person that you're giving it to. And lust is something that you selfishly take away at the expense of the person that you're taken from. These couldn't be more opposite, in my opinion. And, people who are lusting and people who are being lusted after, they can mistake lust for love, because lust is a wolf in sheep's clothing. I've seen many times where there will be two people who think they love each other, but once they collide in the bedroom, then the man in the relationship will realize that he never loved the girl. His goal was to just get her in bed and have a piece of her body. And the girl will unfortunately realize that she was never being loved, but she was being lusted after. And that can really leave people broken. I don't think there's ever been any situation where lust has done any good for anybody. Like, a lot of the songs that we listen to nowadays, they claim to be about love, but if you look at the content of those lyrics are extremely lustful. And I think we need to be very cautious of stuff like that, because you don't want to come in contact with somebody who's lusting after you, because they will rob you of something that is extremely hard to get back. I've had friends who swore up and down that they're doing me favors out of the love and kindness of their heart, and then they'll hit me with the bill like a few weeks later and say, hey, remember when I did this and that for you? And then I would realize that, oh, they didn't do this because, they love me and they have generosity in their hearts. They're doing this because they want something to hold over me and throw in my face when it's convenient for them. So guys, take a minute to think about the differences between love and lust, and think about the times where you've genuinely loved or you've lusted after somebody, and times where you were loved or lusted after. One last thing that I want to say before I end this video is that when you love somebody, there's a few things that you need to be cautious about. One is that loving somebody isn't always easy. Loving somebody isn't always painless. But at the same time, you need to guard your heart. You need to guard your heart and make sure that you, being loving and giving sacrificially doesn't tear away or chip away at your heart, at your mental state, at your health. We need to love people very much in a very safe way and in a way that doesn't destroy us. So please be cautious of that. So yeah, guys, I hope this message can get to somebody who needs to hear it. I hope this message can help change somebody's life. Me being a Christian and me being a follower of Jesus Christ, this is the most important thing that we can do. That was what Jesus claimed to be the greatest command, was to love God with all your heart and to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I was watching a video earlier today where I'm not sure what type of person that this was, but he was clearly a Christian. He said, loving somebody should be what we prioritize, and our differences should be secondary to loving somebody. So no matter if that person is of a different religion, no matter what their sexuality might be, no matter what their skin color might be, you should always love the people around you. Whether you're a Christian or an atheist or somebody of a different religion, loving somebody is the most important thing that you should be doing right now. It'll change the world. Anyways, guys, I don't want to keep you here forever. I love all you guys so much, and I pray that this message can get to people who need to hear it. See you next time. Peace.